How you doing? I am Smelly Bean, and today we are decorating the underside of our floating islands that we built in some previous videos. Now, why is the underside of floating islands important? Well, that's simple. Because without the underside of the island looking good, then you don't have a good look. Let me just show you. You don't have a good look when you're approaching the island. So that one has a bunch of lush stuff on it, but that one doesn't. So we're going to be building on the underside of this island today. Our block palette is the same that we used with this part up here, keeping a similar sort of lush, ancient civilization type theme. And what you're going to want to do first is build out some guidelines. Now, what are these guidelines going to be? These are just going to be the rough shape that you want your build to be in. It's okay if you make this all out of one material. This doesn't have to look good. I'm going to go ahead and quickly time-lapse this part, because it is quite boring. But remember, all that you really need is a basic box, and a few other things around it. Let's go. Okay, now that that's done, and we got our basic frame built, we can head down, and we can look at how it looks. Let's see, are we satisfied with this? I would say yes. Now we go to chains. Because quite a lot of this is floating, it wouldn't make sense for it to just be floating. So we're going to add in some chains to help it not seem as much like it's just hanging midair off the island, and instead seem more like an artificial structure built onto the island later. Now that we got a bunch of our chains in place, we can go in with some glass. Now, why are we using glass? Well, for this limestone glass, we're using the glass to be able to create more open areas that don't seem as blocky. And of course, you don't have to do this for the entire thing. You should be segmenting it into different sections. So that way, as well as doing a bit of the wall texture that we talked about over here, in order to create a more cohesive build. And with this glass, this part down here doesn't look all that good, so let's just throw in some stairs, so that way it looks a bit more even, before a few more over here, which will be for our bridge, or some sort of thing leading up to this spot, which will be part of leading down to here, which will lead down to here, which will lead back up to here. So it'll be a full circle. And then if you have any annoying bits like this, you can just fill them in. Don't forget to add in a bit of texturing, because that looks good. Now that we got this done, we got this little bit right here. Let's just fill in that with a block. We can now begin making the different sections. Well, first off, let's just finish out this bit right here. And also be aware of where your sun rises and sets. For example, I want this room to be one where the sun rises in, similar to this build, where this room is the one where the sun rises in. That room will be the one where the sun rises in for this build. And then if you feel like your under island build doesn't look fully even, that's perfectly okay. It isn't supposed to. It's supposed to look like something weird and unnatural was pasted on. And if you want some extra style points, you can use glass panes to add in a bit of depth, so that way it doesn't really look like it was one solid thing. You get a really cool bit like this. which looks good even without vibrant visuals. And then for your walls, you can also add in some stairs, so that way it seems sort of like an indent is there. Ta-da! Like this. Then you have a little room, another little room, or I guess we could turn this part into a window, and then one last little room right here, and we can move on. And just like that, boom. Now, of course, this seems a little unsafe just to have a dropped spot, and so putting our glass panes away, we can use trapdoors, or for this one I'll be using some bamboo trapdoors. Make it look a bit better than how it's built. Now we can go and grab some slabs, like this and this, build up and over and out. And then just break these bits right here, add in a staircase, sort of. When I say sort of, I mean a sort of staircase, which will require quite a few modifications. And then ta-da, we have our first sort of, let's stop bonking my head, our first path up into here, which will have something to do with, like, I don't know, storage or something. Because remember, this is just an exterior build. We aren't doing interiors today. I should probably do an interior for this. Tell me if I should do an interior for this. But anyway, now that we have all of this done, there's just one final little problem, which, if I could connect this iron bar, is this room, which as of right now does nothing. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be expanding this down, going into here, breaking down this wall, breaking this part, breaking up, so that we can have our way into this room to have something fun in it later. After this, you can just add in some final details like what I'm about to do, and you're done. And also, remember, this is the underside of an island, so mobs will be spawning down here, so you could light it up, so that way it doesn't burn. That sounds cool. It's also a good way to distinguish the underdeveloped part from the developed part of your build. And then, yeah, just throw in a bit more here and there. Maybe some blueberry vines to make it seem like this has been reclaimed by nature, because blueberry vines usually look pretty good. Like that. As well as some vines. Here and there and everywhere. And on top of that, you get this other useful space, which you can use for, I don't know, a rooftop garden or something. And try your best to avoid floating vines like this. They don't really look all that good. But yeah. Anyway, tell me what you think about this idea down in the comments below. I will see you in the future. But don't forget, The underside of builds and the back of builds don't need to be decorated perfectly. You shouldn't hold yourself to the highest standards, and instead you should focus on making something that you will enjoy making and that you'll enjoy spending time in. Remember, this is a game for your entertainment, usually not for the entertainment of others. So have fun, enjoy your life, enjoy your builds in Minecraft, and I will see you in the future.